Ashley, your eye's not bulging and I can't see the tumor.
I struggled with infertility. About a year later, I found out I was pregnant.
Fight this fight of my stage 4 breast cancer that metastasized to my liver. And Dr. Arhanis and Dean and everybody of the church prayed over me. I immediately felt relief.
And then my legs would go out from underneath me at random time and I would fall. But when she fell out in the spirit, the only way I can explain it is it's like life came back into me. It was just pure joy. The pain was gone.
He touched us on the back of our neck and said, "Be healed and accept his healing." The next morning I got up, stood straight up, went to the restroom, and I kind of thought, wow, that felt good.
And Dr. Arhanis looked directly at me and said, "And not only are you going to be a mother one day, but you're going to be a grandmother." And then I lost it even more. And I just started crying because I'm like...
There was a moment that I can recall in my mind where Arhanis was talking about an individual who was there who needed or who had ringing in their ears and that God wanted to heal them.
But when God touches you and touches your life in a way that he did me, there's no denying it.
My name is Ashley Bucklew. I am from Thackerville and I go to church at Thackerville Community Church. I struggled with infertility. We started trying once my oldest was 2 and wasn't happening, so probably about six years. In 2021 we had a surgery and they told me IVF was my only option, and of course we just couldn't afford that because it's very expensive. We looked into adoption. It just wasn't an option. It just didn't work for us. And then Dr. Arhanis came in 2023. In 2024, about a year later, I found out I was pregnant. During when he was praying over me and my husband, Jonathan, I felt like a warming sensation in my stomach area. I definitely knew something was happening. I just couldn't explain it. And then the very next week, I went to the doctor and had a procedure done to check and see if my tubes were open, and they said your tubes are open and that I need to keep trying. I would say that I understand because I was in that boat. I went to Janet many times talking about how I just can't keep trying and doing this, and then finally I just gave it all to God and was like, okay, this is his will, not mine, and if it happens, it happens. But never stop praying about it and never stop believing, and read your Bible, get into the Word, and just keep that momentum going and just keep trying and believing that something good will come out of it. Yeah, we're super excited that we got our little man here, and Tucker, he's a happy big brother, and we're all very happy that we finally got our little bundle here.
That's awesome.
My name is Ashley Inyer and I'm from Ardmore, Oklahoma. I struggled with my strength, hope, and courage to fight this fight of my stage 4 breast cancer that metastasized to my liver. The moment my healing took place was when Dr. Arhanis and Dean and everybody of the church prayed over me. I immediately felt relief of the tenderness in my liver. Also, a couple of days later, I was told I wasn't eligible for a clinical trial. I had a doctor's appointment where my doctor told me she had literally got emailed 30 minutes before my appointment, where a doctor had looked over my chart and told me that I was going to be eligible for a clinical trial. Then the amount of courage, hope, and strength that I gained back after that was overwhelming and gave me a sense of peace. Don't ever lose faith, because when you have nothing else to believe in, you can always believe in the faith of God. Before this journey, I always believed in God, but that was pretty much the extent of it. I believe there's purpose in everything, and I believe the purpose of this was to show me that when I have nothing else to believe in or lean on, I always have God, and that we serve a God who is a big God who performs big miracles. Before the healing, I was just extremely depressed. I was in bed all the time. I wasn't eating. There was days I didn't shower. It was a bad, messy place. And then once I went and got prayed over, the amount of peace and courage and hope that I had again was just, like I said, it was overwhelming. People ask me all the time now, they're like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you getting up and showing up and doing this every day? And I'm like, it's you. It's God.
Hi, I'm Ashley Roy and I'm from Gainesville, Texas. So in 2025, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor and it was encased around my carotid artery, pituitary gland, and optic nerve. I had that resected in 2020, in June of 2020, and then they left 10% of it in it. They were unable to take out 10%. And then 2021, they thought I had a stroke and I recovered from that. And then 2023, I started losing feeling all over and they ended up diagnosing me with MS. So had remitting relapsing MS. And so from all of that, I had treatments for the brain tumor, but with the MS and the brain tumor, I had to learn to walk again a couple of different times and to just do basic things. And then from the MS, I struggled with severe pain all day, every day. And then my legs would go out from underneath me at random time and I would fall and I wouldn't be able to get up. I was supposed to have lost vision completely in the right eye eventually because of the surgery and the tumor still being around it, of the optic nerve, and then severe headache. So I would go through like a bottle of ibuprofen every 2 weeks, like a large bottle. I had pressure headaches every day, but just a lot of the pain. So July 28th, there was a healing service at church. My husband and I went in and went to sit down. We had to go to the front row. I don't particularly care for being front row. I like to be back row. But I was just drawn to Angelina when we went in. I didn't know her. I had never met her before. I just remember thinking that she was sad, and I don't like when people are sad. And so we ended up sitting down. I was just drawn to her. I kept looking over at her. And Dr. Arhanus had gone up to speak, and he spoke something about someone fighting with being lonely or grieving or something to that. And I remember looking over at her and she just started crying, and he said something about they need to be prayed for, and I knew that it was her. And so I don't know if she stood up, I don't know, I can't remember that. So I went over to her to pray, and myself and a few other members that were there were praying over her. And I remember laying my hands on her and praying, and she fell out in the spirit. And that was new for me as well. But when she fell out in the spirit, the only way I can explain it is it's like life came back into me. It was just pure joy. The pain was gone. And so I hugged her and I wanted her to get up because I wanted to tell my husband. And I kept hugging her. She's like, you're healed. And I was like, I know. And so then JD, my husband, came back and he sat down next to me and I hugged him and he's like, are you okay? And I told him, I whispered because it was really loud. I was like, I'm healed. And he said, what? And I said, I'm healed. And he starts crying. And he said that on the way over there that night that he was told by God that I was going to receive my healing that night. The scar tissue has always been a big thing because it was constantly spreading, whether it was around the carotid artery, the optic nerve. It was always very present and it was something to watch. And so we were getting up to leave and I asked him, I said, hey, what about the scar tissue? And he goes, it's like I said, there's nothing to be seen. Or surround yourself with people who believe and stand the same way and believe what you are believing for. You standing and keep believing, but I know that it's all in God's timing. You're going to lose people that you thought were there for you. But I feel like what I've learned is, as corny as it sounds, some friends leave because they go through seasons and they're gonna float away, but some are trees and they are rooted there forever. And the ones that are supposed to be there are going to be there, and they're going to believe with you, and they're going to stand with you, and they're, even if they don't understand what you're going through, what you're dealing with, just keep praying and keep believing. I used to enjoy running, and I couldn't run because the pain was just too much. The bones would hurt horribly, or my legs would go out from underneath me. So the healing happened July 28th, which I believe was a Saturday, and that following day after church, I went home and ran with my children. I got made fun of by my children for the way I ran, but I was able to run. So I just feel like I have my life back, and I feel like now it's my duty to share it with everybody and help build their faith and their confidence and I just want them to know God. I want to make heaven crowded. I was healed of a meningioma brain tumor and remitting relapsing multiple sclerosis.
Okay, my name's Bubba Byerly. I manage Leaper Lake here in Thackerville, Oklahoma. In May 17th of 2006, I was unemployed and I was doing odd jobs. And I was doing a tree removal where I had to climb into the top of a tree to remove limbs. Something went wrong and I fell from the tree nearly 25 feet. I was diagnosed with bleeding of the brain, swelling of the brain. I had multiple fractures. I stayed in ICU for 4 days, and I stayed in a normal room for 11 days. And when I finally came home, I was still in enormous amount of pain in my back, and nothing was ever diagnosed in my back area. It was just my brain and my wrists that were broken. And I had to go back to have some stitches removed, and I inquired about more pain medication, and that was when they got a doctor to re-examine my back and found we had 8 fractures in my back, and this was in 2006. And I had been dealing with and living with chronic back pain the entire time. I was at a small church home gathering where I was anointed with oil and prayed over by the elders, and that was the first night I did not sleep in a recliner in over a month. And as I said, this continued on until last year, December 22nd of 2023. We had a visiting preacher from the Dominican Republic. He's gifted with the ability to heal through God's Word. And I'd been in constant pain since 2023 until we had a visiting missionary preacher from the Dominican Republic, and he had asked if there were people in the audience in the church that night that had back issues. And of course I was one of the first ones to stand up and come to the front, and there was 3 or 4 of us all lined up, standing next to each other. He prayed over us, he prayed to us, he touched us on the back of our neck and said, "Be healed and accept this healing." And I did. It wasn't a blinding light from Damascus, or it wasn't an instant miracle. I got up and went back to my pew and sat down. But the next morning when I woke up, I didn't have to crouch over to get up and walk once I got out of bed. Didn't think a whole lot of that. The next morning I got up, stood straight up, went to the restroom, and I kind of thought, wow, that felt good. This went on for about 3 or 4 days, and then it was finally, God just kind of slapped me in the head and said, "Do you realize what's happened here?" To this day, it's still very emotional knowing that what he did for me. I never thought a lot of myself. Didn't think I was one of those, but he let me know that I was, and I have been ever since. And I just don't know how to thank him. Each day I pray and thank for him. And this has been 2.5 years since this miracle happened to me. And I, without a shadow of doubt, know that other people see not the healing in me, but his hand that touched me. I have had so many people tell me how happy I looked, how good I looked, and I know it's the Spirit of Jesus that's living in me now that wasn't before. And I know there's a lot of people that are skeptical, because I was one of those people. But when God touches you and touches your life in a way that he did me, there's no denying it. You cannot deny God. You can't deny that there is a God. He is all powerful, all healing, and I thank him daily for all that he's done for me. I know that through the Spirit of God that I am and have been healed without a doubt, and I can't, and for anybody that doubts that or wants that, I want that for you too. I want the joy and happiness that I've received for everybody else. Because if it's experienced to you and you know how real it is, you don't want anybody not to have this. This is real. This is love. This is my Christ. The healing that was done in my back has changed my life in so many different ways, because before the healing, I actually had a doctor tell me that this would add 10 years to my life. Not the healing, the accident. And I was a little misunderstanding, and I thought, oh boy, I'm getting 10 extra years. No, he said I would probably feel 10 years older. No, ma'am. today I'm a few days away from being 69 years old, no way do I feel that way. No way do I feel that way. I go to church, I hang out with the young boys, I go fishing with the young boys, and them young boys ain't having a hard time keeping up with me. I honestly feel as strong or stronger than I did those 10 years ago. My faith has changed unbelievably. I mean, as we all grow up in church and we hear these things and we hear stories of faith and of healing in other people, and it never becomes really real until it becomes real to you. And it has become real to me. And I can be a spokesman for that now. And I do. I love to share the story of what God has done for me. And I know that He can do it for others if they trust and put their trust and love in Him, as I did, and He will never fail nor forsake us.
Hi, I'm Cherish. I grew up in Thackerville. I'm currently living in Lindsay, Texas. So I was 19, almost 20 weeks pregnant, when me and my husband went in for an ultrasound just to see our baby girl. And when we were sitting there on the table, they couldn't find a heartbeat. And I remember in that moment, they were saying she was only measuring 15 weeks and she was supposed to be, 19 to 20 weeks. And that moment, I remember it completely broke me. And we had to rush over to our doctor that we were seeing. And we ran to the ER, and then we went from there to the doctor we were seeing, and they had all, confirmed that she hadn't made it. And they went over our options, and they told me that because we were as far as we were along, that I did have to go through labor and giving birth to her. So that night, we went home, and I remember that being the last night we were able to be at our home and getting to be with our baby girl and having her in our home for the last time. And we had to go the next day, and we decided we were gonna go through the process of starting labor, starting it all and going and having her. I remember I had passed out around the time that I actually gave birth to her, and I woke up and they had told me that I had her, and they had her in a bag to get her ready so they could position her however they needed to so I could see what she looked like. And they brought her in there to me, and I remember seeing her, and the first thing I said was, "She's beautiful." I remember just seeing her and thinking she's the most beautiful person I'd ever seen in this world. I just kept letting her know that I loved her so much. And that night in the hospital, the rest of the day that we were there, I just held her for as long as I could. Eventually, we ended up cremating her so that we could have her in our house and keep her there. But I remember that time, I kept repeating to myself and saying to my parents and to just everybody, I'm not mad at God. I'm not mad at God. I'm not sad and I'm angry, but I'm not mad at God because I know that this wasn't what He planned for her. I know that we live in a fallen world because of what happened at the start where there was sin in the Garden of Eden. So we live in a fallen world where He said good things can happen, but also bad things can happen to good people. And I know His plan for Hope was not for her to be taken so early before she could be here on this earth. I know if it was up to Him, I would still have my baby and I would get to raise her. But because we live in a world where there is sin and where there is destruction and where the devil sort of takes residence to an extent, I know that she was taken soon, but she's with Him. And the thing that I clung on to was that I knew this wasn't His will for her. So the night that Dr. Ahinas was here, I was helping lead a song at the piano, and I was playing Yeshua, which that one was also a spontaneous worship moment. We weren't even supposed to play that one. But during that, I was having a really rough time and I kind of just lost it. And my mom had seen me and she came up there and she got me. And worship team, they did an awesome job. They were able to switch to a different song on such short notice, and they did awesome. But my mom, she had took me to the back and she had talked with me, and then my dad had come back there and I just lost it. I was sobbing. And she had asked me if I wanted Dr. Arhanis to
pray for me and pray for my husband. And I had said, yes, I needed something, and I didn't know what that looked like. So my mom had took me out and we sat in the back row here, and my dad went up there to go talk to Dr. Ihenis, but before he could even say anything, Dr. Ihenis had went into giving words of knowledge to people. My mom, she was like, oh, dang it, like, you know, she didn't want to stop him by any means, but, you know, she's looking at me like, you know, I'm her daughter, and she was just wanting something because she sees that I'm hurting. And I just start sitting there, I'm like, it's fine, and I start crying. I'm, you know, like quietly, I'm crying to myself, trying to calm myself down. And I think he was giving a word to someone, and then all of a sudden he went from there and he started saying something different. And he started out with saying, someone here is mourning. And at that moment, something just rose up in me, and I just lost it, and I cried like as loud as I did the day that I had in the hospital and we had found out, if not louder. I don't know what came over me, but I just lost it. And he went into more detail, and he was saying, someone here is mourning, someone here has lost their child. There is a mother here mourning her child, and I'm praying that God, that he comforts you and that he continues comforting you. He like stopped for a minute, and then he continued and he said, and there is no condemnation on you. And there is no condemnation on the Father. There is nothing y'all did wrong. This wasn't y'all's fault. Y'all cannot take the blame for this. And I pray comfort over you. And I just started sobbing, and I had, you know, like a bunch of people, because there's someone from our church that in leadership, he ran up there because he thought I was still at the piano because there was something blocking where you couldn't see me. And he heard this and he's like, oh my gosh, and he ran up there to go get me, not knowing I'm already in the back. So he ran over there, saw me in the back, and he ran over there to me, and a bunch of people started gathering around me praying. And Dr. Ihenis looked directly at me and said, and not only are you going to be a mother one day, but you're going to be a grandmother. And then I lost it even more. And I just started crying because I'm like, there was parts of me that doubt it. Like, I don't know that I'm going to be a mom one day. What if this is it? And on days that are hard, that I really struggle with everything that happened, I remember the words that were spoken, and I cling to that promise because I know that was of God, because he didn't know my situation. My parents didn't get to talk to him. And I remember going up to my dad afterwards because my mom had told me he didn't talk to him at all. And I went up to my dad because there was a part of me that was like, you know, the human part of me that's like, are you sure? Maybe he talked to him beforehand and let him know something was up. But I went to my dad and I'm like, did he know anything of our story? And he said, no, I didn't tell him anything. I haven't been mad at God because I've felt him with me even on the lowest days. I haven't been mad at him or doubting his power or that he can heal the hurt that is there, even though I'm still going to always miss her. And one, you know, like part of me, you're like wondering what it would have been like to have her here. I've just never doubted anything of him because I know who the Bible, who it says he is. And I think as long as you draw closer to him, even if there's days that you are mad at him, he can handle it. There's nothing that you can say that will hurt him because he's hurting with you. Like when you're crying, he is crying with you. And I think that there's healing in knowing that the one who created everything cries with you when you're hurting. He has the power to help you overcome anything you're going through. I think this has changed my faith in an extent to where I'm more bold than I was before. It's like the thing that I couldn't have imagined ever going through, I've been through. And that's the hardest thing I feel like I'm ever gonna go through. So any fear that I had, like of being bold in my faith and sharing the gospel with people, is kind of gone. Because I'm like, what is there to be scared of? I feel like now I'm more bold on not exactly calling people out, but challenging their thinking on things. Like, you know, if they're complaining about their life and saying, oh, it's horrible because this happened and X, Y, and Z, then I feel like I can be more bold in saying, well, have you went to God about it? What does the scripture say about it? Like challenging and kind of calling them out on being so negative about things, because it's like not trying to make myself like, you know, the example on, oh, well, look at me, blah, 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 because it's not me. I'm only able to go on like I have been able to because of God. So I feel like it's made me more bold in my faith and challenging other people to do the same and go to God with their problems instead of soaking in it. And then another thing that Dr. Ihenis had said was that God is going to give me a song. He's going to place it on my heart, and it's going to help me through the healing process, and that it's not only going to help me, but it's going to help other people who are going through this. Which was funny because I had another lady in our church that had told me that like a week or two before he had ever said anything. And she said the exact same thing. So we did let her know, like, afterwards, like, oh my gosh, like, Dr. Arjena said the same thing, and he had no idea what she said. So I'm still waiting on that song. I think I'm still going through and healing and walking through that with God. So I haven't got the song yet, but I know I'm going to get it one day. And there's part of me that is excited for it, because if there's anything, I do want to be able to help others heal, be a vessel like how Dr. Arjena was. I don't want the glory to go to me, because it's not of me. If there's any way that I can help someone else that went through this, then I want to be able to be a vessel and to point it back to him.
My name's Chris Brown. From here in Oklahoma. It was a gastro reflux thing. It was like I threw up acid, and I couldn't eat nothing spicy, and it wasn't even just spicy food, just like I would throw up acid all the time. Like, I didn't feel anything when I got prayed on, but I know I tested it right away. We went to a Mexican restaurant and I got the spiciest thing I can get, and I ate it, and I didn't take my pills, and still, a few days later, nothing was going on. And usually at least once a week, most of the time 3 times a week, I'd wake up middle of the night and just throw up stomach acid, because it would just be coming up. And it's been over 3 weeks now. I haven't took my pill, not once. Nothing, it's just gone. And I've been dealing with it for 5-7 years now. So it's awesome, it's good. Just seeing's believing. If you're there, anybody could say they believe in God, but when you actually experience something, not just with healing, but just trials, he's there for you no matter what. No matter, you could doubt and say all you want, but he's there, and as soon as you believe in it, it really takes hold and starts to work. So
my name is Chris Jones. I live in Gainesville, originally from Thackerville. I attend the Thackerville Community Church. I had in my left knee, I tore the medial meniscus and my ACL. We was at Melody and Dean's house. I guess it was probably the first time I went to Bible study there, and they set me in the middle of the group right there, and everybody started praying for me, and I just felt an intense heat. Dean was down here, had his hands on my knee, and after everybody got through praying, Dean asked me if I was healed, and I told him I received it, and he said, well, jump up and down on it. I had an issue with it since. What I'd say is just believe. Believe his word. His word is there for a reason. His word is truth. He tells us, that he'll come and heal us. So just believe. It's changed me where I'm not in pain anymore. I can actually walk. I don't have to wear a knee brace. I was wearing a knee brace for over a year. And the way it increased my faith is I believe more in the healing, which I believed in healing before, but it just magnified it even more. And if he can do it in me, he can do it in others.
I'm Joe McElroy.
I'm Judy McElroy. Hey, at the end of our Saturday service, when he was talking with each one of us, holding our hands and everything, he took my hands and he said, first real quietly, he stood there a minute, and then he said, God has gave you a heart of serving. And I said, yes. And I go back to what Jack just said in Matthew 20. Jesus came to serve, and he did not come to be served, but to serve. And he gave me that heart when I was a young child of caring for others and loving on others. And then he also prophesied that there had been a divorce in the family. And I know it was from God, because he did not know this, that we'd had it, but he promised that there would be no more pain from that divorce at all. And he said, you have a loved one that has strayed from the Lord a little bit, but that loved one is coming back, and coming back a lot stronger than when he was before. And he prayed about all of that over me, and it blessed me, and he was right in every area. Everything has come to pass and is more stronger now than it was then. So yes, it was a blessing to have him here. I enjoyed him so much, and all of the things that came to pass after him being here, and the healing and stuff.
just recently I was prayed over because I had my heart was fluttering, and I had been in AFib, and they couldn't keep me out of the fluttering part. The doctors couldn't pull me out of it, and Pastor Mary and Dean Schaefer put their hearts, one on my back and one on the front of my heart, and they prayed for me real strong. And at that time it went out, and I didn't really realize what had happened at the time until we was at a doctor just a week or so ago, and I had been out of the fluttering heart ever since that day. So God pulled me through it. I'm going to be in better shape than I've been in years, because I've been going in and out of AFib ever since, for 10 years. And now that I'm going to be out of it, and I'm very blessed for that to have happened at 90 years of age. Well, I feel good. I have felt better in the last 30 days than I've felt in a long time, and it's just so wonderful. I've always been a believer of prayer. It has worked on me previously, and it just leads to a wonderful older age of life. I just didn't realize what it was that had happened. I couldn't imagine anything that strong to go on. And Murray and Dean, they felt it whenever it went out, and that proves to be true later in time. The belief that it can work, and have confidence, and furthermore than the belief, know that it can work. When you've had it to work for you, you've seen it happen, and all these things. Now that's pretty good. That's something that'll build you up pretty strong to believe and pass the word on to others.
To trust, to have faith, to know that He is the great healer of all things. When Dr. Arhanis was here in July, the end of July, and on that Sunday when he was asking for people to lay hands on other people and pray for them, Murray pulled Dean over and prayed for Joe. Dean laid his hands on the front of his chest, Murray on the back side, and they prayed with their hands over his heart. And Joe said he felt something that was different, and Murray and Dean both said they felt it too, but we didn't realize really. I mean, I did, and Joe did, but it was more of a true testimony when we went to the doctor and we got the results saying he had been out of AFib since July, the end of July. He has not been back in AFib, and everything is working like it needs to be. And we just give God all the praise and glory. It's all His.
The room felt colder. It was actually starting to hurt my throat because I wasn't used to it. I believe it's more like a daily thing. It's like with everything happening, I just forget here and there, but I'm still doing pretty good. It just matters on you, really. It's like you can't really force yourself. Sometimes you do need that help. It's like I've had lots of help at my church at Valley Creek too. So the more you believe, it more spiritual you get too. So with asthma, it's like a constant weight on you. It's like it doesn't help with like allergy stuff, especially this time of year. But after like getting healed and stuff and feeling the cold air for the first time in forever in that church, definitely felt like a different kind of weight was lifted. I was healed of asthma.
Perfect.
My name is Zach Liddell. I grew up in Thackerville, Oklahoma, and now live in Marietta, Oklahoma. So before my healing happened, I had what the doctors would call tinnitus. For years, a lot of ringing in my ears, some popping, different things like that. It's funny, I actually was mentioning it to Parker just a couple weeks before my healing happened, so that made it even better that someone was there who knew that I was struggling with that. So for me, it actually wasn't at the service with Arhanis that I had the healing. There was a moment that I can recall in my mind where Arhanis was talking about an individual who was there who needed or who had ringing in their ears, and that God wanted to heal them. And I actually didn't think about it until like 3 days later at my house. And then I realized it was like God was like, hey dummy, you're the one that was healed from tinnitus.
What would you say to someone seeking healing or doubting God's power?
This is a tricky question because for me, I found my faith in God after I had a moment that was undeniable for God. And so people who have their doubt maybe haven't had their moment yet. So maybe something along the lines of just keep working toward it and you're going to have your moment. I wouldn't say that it changed my faith so much, but I have changed things that I do on an everyday basis. Whenever I am at work, I put earplugs in because I don't want to damage my ears again. Arhanis talked a little bit about not going back to the same things that you were doing before you were healed. I wear earplugs. Even when I was weed eating my yard, I used to never wear earplugs, and now I wear earplugs. So it changed like daily routine things that I do. I'm Zach Liddell, and I was healed of tinnitus.